While we are conducting descriptive analysis, it is very important to know the distribution of our variable. One of the very important measures that very commonly used is called the Box-and-Whisker Plot. A Box-and-Whisker Plot is a useful device to look at our distribution. It's simply called the box plot. And it makes use of the quartiles in it. So this box is the box and these bars are the whiskers. In this box, we always start with this horizontal line or vertical line, and then we identify these observations. This point is the lower quartile, which is the 25th percentile. This edge of the box will be 75th percentile, and there will be line that parts this box is the median. Moreover, there are outliers which are always defined by the stars in the Box-and-Whisker Plot. And there is this upper fence. Upper fence is obtained by Q3 plus 1.5 times interquartile range, which is interquartile range is equals to Q3 minus Q1. This value is the maximum value that's just before the upper fence. Here, this value is the value that's just above or just before the lower fence. This lower fence is obtained by Q1 minus 1.5. You will notice that this value at the top is Q3 plus because we want to go beyond the Q3 to look at the higher values, and to look at the lower values, it could be beyond Q1. These two outliers are defined by the stars, and there are 25% values which are in this region, and 25% values are in this region, and in total, this box contains 50% of the observations in the data. More commonly, if there are no outliers in the data, this whisker defines the minimum value and the maximum value. So this box plot is a very informative plot. Here are a few steps for the construction of a Box-and-Whisker plot. The very first step, we represent the variable of interest on the horizontal axis. Though it's not a rule that it should be always on the horizontal axis. It could be vertical axis as well. In the step 2, we draw a box in the space above the horizontal axis in such a way that the left end of the box aligns with the lower quartile and right end aligns with the upper quartile. Then we divide the box into two parts by a vertical line that aligns with the Q2, which is the median value. Then in the step 4, we draw the horizontal line called whiskers from the left end of the box to the point that aligns the smallest measurement. And similarly, in the step 5, we extend the whisker to the right that extends from Q3 to the maximum value in the data. Let's take an example of Grf measurements, where our Q1 is 27.25, median is 31.10, and Q3 is 33.525. Upper fence is 42.938, and lower fence is 17.838. The minimum value is 14.6 and maximum value is 44.0. And if we look at the box plot down there, you can notice that this value is Q1, this value is Q3, and this value is Q2. This value is the minimum value, which is 14.6, and this value is the maximum value, which is 44. This is a box plot, but many softwares, they do, when this is what happens when we do it manually. But most of the time, when we take the software generated plots, they do calculate the upper fence and the lower fence. And over here, we can see the upper fence is approximately over here, lower fence is approximately over here, and these value, the first observation, the first case in our data, and the 20th observation in our data, both are the outliers. This value is the Q1, this value is the Q3, this value is the Q2. This is the minimum value just before the lower fence, and this is the maximum value just before the upper fence. Sometimes we compare the distributions of variables across different levels. Like in this case, there are metals and there are non-metals. And we can draw more than one box plot in one graph as they are displayed in the current picture. We use box and whisker plot to represent the shapes of the distribution. If we look at the symmetric one, you will notice that the distance of Q2 from Q1 and Q2 from Q3 are equal. This is the situation when the distribution is going to be symmetric. If the distance of Q1 from Q2 is lesser than the distance from Q2 to Q3, it will be positively skewed. And for negatively skewed, Q2 and Q3 are much closer to each other as compared to Q1 from Q2. Box and whisker plot provides a very quick summary of our data. It makes use of 5 values in our data. Box and whisker plots are drawn for the quantitative variables. Yes, we do not draw box and whisker plots for qualitative variables. Moreover, if we want to observe the shapes of the distribution for our quantitative variable at different levels of our qualitative variable, we can draw a multiple box plot for each level of a qualitative variable. Thank you.